Is that what you hear every time you think of opening your mouth and sharing your story with the world? Or is it something a lot louder like, shut up? Because that is the conversation that many of us have. This is what we hear, either from our friends and our family, or sometimes just from that small voice inside of us that says, I'm really not that important. My story's not that big, and I'm sure as hell not as famous as these guys. But that doesn't mean that your story doesn't have importance. It most certainly does. And it does in many different ways. The thing is we start thinking that all those things that we have to say are just a lot of noise. There are so many news bites and stories that we hear on TV, on the radio, on the computer. We think that it's just noise. The universe, however, is made of stories, not atoms. And those stories have been around from the moment that the universe was created. Those vibrations moving through time. The first time that humans spoke around the fire and said to each other, hey, did you see that mammoth I took down? Or, what did Grog do over there? That's disgusting. They looked to the stars and they watched the heavens. They saw the sun and the moon and the stars and they said, where do I fit in? We are still doing that now, except we just call those stories science. Stories help us connect to each other. We have points of commonality. Raise your hands. You've skinned your knee. You've hurt your head. You've fallen. Have you lived through the German Holocaust? Have you lived in Holland? No, my stepdad did. He lived through the German occupation. It helped me understand his stories and how much it meant when he was able to overcome all those challenges and graduate in his late 50s with a fine arts degree. These stories that we all have help us connect to each other. And when I say the word writer, a lot of people have this idea, oh, here's somebody who can put words out on a page and they're just so beautiful and perfect and poetic and I'm just gonna cry. But the fact of the matter is that when I look at my screen, there are some days I do this. And I think, oh my God, that looks like something my dog barfed up on the couch. It's nothing pretty. And people expect that when they're going to write something, it's gonna look great, but as a matter of fact, it looks a lot like this. Some parts are really clear and tight and fantastic, and some parts are just a jumbled mess. And then people who have issues with dyslexia or other educational challenges, they can't even get the words out right because something is garbled in the way that they're trying to get their message out. How frustrating that must be. Or if you speak with words and emotions through pictures, how hard is it to tell your story? It seems like an impossible task. But it doesn't need to be. Everybody has a way to share their story in some way, shape, or another. The challenge is getting it out first. Until you get it out there, there's nothing to erase. There's nothing to clean up. There's no way to fix the messes. There's nothing there in the first place. When you get those words outside of you, when you share those stories, you are able to share that with other people. Because when you're pushing up daisies, those words won't mean anything if they're left unsaid. Those words won't help you connect with someone else who has a common experience, who needs to hear what you've overcome, that they might be facing a challenge with. And sure, there might be some people who don't want to hear your story. They don't need to hear it. The people who do hear it, on the other hand, and who need to hear your story and to feel like I belong, are the ones who are going to love it. So don't just sit there feeling sorry for yourself. Speak up.